Yo, what's up? Avian here, and today I'm going to show you guys my top 25 for our rankings. I'm going to show you the AP at the end of the video so you guys can compare, and I'm going to do a lot less talking in this video. I'm just going to go over some of the bullet points on why these teams have the ranking they do, so the video is not as long. So hopefully you guys enjoy, and let's get right into this. Starting off with the Alabama Crimson Tide, I have them number 1. They played Ole Miss this weekend. They beat Ole Miss 42-21. They were dominant the whole game. They were winning 42-7, and then Ole Miss scored a couple touchdowns in garbage time. Ole Miss really didn't do anything in this game. I'm kind of like taken back by Lane Kiffin, and they weren't really that creative, and Alabama played great defense, and that's all I had to say. And at number 2, we have the Georgia Bulldogs. As I said before, Georgia and Alabama are just on a different level from anyone else in college football right now, and they played Arkansas this weekend, and they won this game pretty easily, 37-0. Didn't even have JT Daniels. Their defense played lights out. That defense is the best defense. I know Alabama has a good defense, but Georgia's is better. It's just better. But Alabama's got the better offense. So again, cannot wait for this matchup at the end of the year because we all know what's going to happen. But yeah, let's get right into the next game. Next we got the Cincinnati Bearcats. I moved them all the way up to number 3. They played Notre Dame this weekend, got the biggest win of their lives. They got the biggest win in program history or group of 5 history, something like that. And they won this game 24-13. They looked good the whole game. They scored 17 in the second quarter. They were in control from start to end. Notre Dame tried to come back in the third. They got back to 13, but Cincinnati scored a touchdown late in the fourth quarter, and that put it out of reach. So yeah. Next, I got the Penn State Indy Lions at 4. They played Indiana this weekend. They won 24-0. Indiana, I don't know what's wrong with Indiana, but they are not playing well. I thought Tom Allen would have that team ready to play, but I guess not. They're just not good. Penix has looked horrible this season. They've looked like the old Indiana, and it's just a far cry from what happened last year. But yeah, Penn State, they play lights out. Their defense played great. Their offense, it was okay. I mean, Clifford did decent. They ran for a decent amount of yards, but it was more about the defense. And at the 5th spot, I have the Iowa Hawkeyes, and they played Maryland. They won this game 51-14. It wasn't even close. I really thought this game was going to be competitive, but Maryland made way too many mistakes, especially Talia Tagovailoa. He threw 5 interceptions. Five interceptions this man threw. And that's when Iowa just kind of went crazy in the second quarter. They had 31 points to Maryland 0 in the second quarter. So they basically gave this game away. I almost said Indiana. Iowa honestly played lights out on defense. Their defense is insane, and they're always causing turnovers, as well as their offense. Petrus, he threw 3 touchdowns, I'm pretty sure. So they didn't play that bad on offense either, but their defense is just something different. Next, we got the Oklahoma Sooners. I got them coming in ranked 6 this week. They played Kansas State. They won that game 37-31. This game, honestly, was a very good game. Spencer Rattler played very well other than the 1 interception. He went 22 for 25, I believe. And going against Skylar Thompson actually played pretty good too. He was 29-41, 320 yards, 3 touchdowns. But yeah, it was kind of like it was an offensive game, but Oklahoma's defense did enough for them to win this game. I know Kansas State had like a garbage touchdown at the end, but yeah, Oklahoma looked okay. I got them in rank 6. And at number 7, I have the Ohio State Buckeyes. They played Rutgers, and they won this game 52-13. And honestly, 52-6 was probably the final score, other than the garbage touchdown at the end. But this game, CJ Stroud, he played very, very well. I honestly thought Rutgers had a chance for the upset in this game because of how Rutgers has been playing this season. They only lost 7 to Michigan. Their defense played very well. Their offense, didn't really fare well. But CJ Stroud was 17 for 23 for 330 yards and 5 touchdowns, 5 passing touchdowns. They were up, I think it was 45-6 at halftime on Rutgers. Now, Ohio State, I feel like they're coming alive a little bit. Their defense is playing a lot better these last couple of weeks, and I know it's because of lesser opponents, but I don't think of Rutgers as a lesser opponent, actually. But nonetheless, that's why I have them there. They're showing out, and they're improving. And at number 8, I have the Michigan Wolverines. They play Wisconsin. They won this game 38-17. Honestly, Wisconsin's offense is just bad. I mean, we've talked about this before. Their offense sucks. Michigan's defense, they play very well. Wisconsin couldn't run the ball. They couldn't really pass the ball. At least Wisconsin put up 17 because I didn't really think that they'd be able to put up anything. But yeah, Michigan's offense played decent. They got 38. They capitalized off the mistakes that the Badgers made. And yeah. Next, I got BYU at number 9. They played Utah State on Friday, actually, and they won this game 34-20. Main story about this game was Tyler Algier. I think that's how you say his name. He ran for 218 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he was the difference maker in this game. BYU honestly didn't play that well, and it kind of seems like they played down to their opponents as well, because I think they're a lot better than what they've shown against these lesser opponents. But yeah, I have them at number 9. Good win. Let's move on. And next I got Michigan State at number 10. They play Western Kentucky this weekend. They won 48-31. They're winning 45-16 for the majority of this game until the fourth quarter, and Western Kentucky scored 2 touchdowns in that quarter. They kind of made it a lot closer than it was, but I'm kind of concerned about Michigan State's pass defense because they let up 488 yards passing, and that's not going to go well in the Big Ten, especially when they play Ohio State and other high-powered offenses. So a little worried about that, but good win for Michigan State. Then we got Oregon. Now, I moved Oregon down to rank 11 for my polls just because they lost to Stanford. Stanford, an unranked team, but a very underrated unranked team. I think they're actually a good team. Oregon lost this game by 7. There was a lot of bad calls in this game to my mind. I think Oregon should have won, but you know, it is what it is, and honestly, Oregon plays down to their opponents, just like a couple other teams that I've talked about. They haven't looked good. They have not looked good. The only game they've looked good in this year is the game against Ohio State, and that is it. So they kind of had this coming. Next at number 12, I have the Oklahoma State Cowboys. They played the Baylor Bears this weekend. They won this game 24-14. They didn't look that good. Well, Sanders didn't look that good. Let me say that. He had 3 interceptions in this game. He particularly did not play well. Baylor's offense played awful, and Oklahoma State's defense just really showed up. They did their thing. They held Baylor to 10 first downs and less than 300 yards. So Oklahoma State, they have a really good defense. Their offense has a little bit to be desired, but yeah. And at number 13, I have Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. They played UL Monroe this weekend. They won that game 59-6. They look good on offense and defense. Not really to say. They've been playing inferior opponents all season long. But yeah, congratulations for being 13 in my poll. And at number 14, I have the Kentucky Wildcats. They beat Florida this weekend 20-13. I talked about that in my last video, but I'm just going to say Kentucky's defense came to play. Florida made a lot of turnovers. They made a lot of mistakes. That's why they lost this game. But yeah, that's why I have Kentucky there. They're undefeated, and let's see what happens with this team. And at 15, we have the poor Arkansas Razorbacks. They lost to Georgia 0-37. They played a horrible game plan, horrible defense. Well, their defense was okay in the beginning, but it didn't play that well. Their offense was so anemic. They kind of looked like Texas A&M out there. They didn't know what they were doing. And yeah, that's why I moved them to 15. And the reason they're not back further is because of how this week turned out. You know, a lot of teams around that 8-15 area lost. But yeah. And at 16, I got the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They lost Cincinnati, 24-13. Looked bad the whole game, other than like the third quarter. And they played like 3 different quarterbacks, and none of them really worked. So yeah. And at 18, I have North Carolina State. They played Louisiana Tech this weekend. They won 34-27. They didn't look good in this game. Louisiana Tech almost won. They almost came back in the fourth quarter. NC State, they might be a little overrated, but I have them where they're at because of their win against Clemson. Clemson obviously isn't good, but I'm trying to give them a shot. And at number 19, I have Ole Miss. As we know, they lost to Alabama 42-21 when the score is honestly 42-7. They scored those last 2 touchdowns in garbage time against Alabama. Again, Lane Kiffin, bad game plan. They didn't execute. Bama played great defense. That's all I gotta say. And to round out the top 20, I have the Florida Gators, number 20. They lost to Kentucky 13-20, like we talked about earlier. They made so many mistakes in this game, and honestly, there was no way that they could have recovered. Kentucky's defense played great, and that's why they're back here at 20. Honestly, you can make a discussion that they should be even further back, but I believe the Gators are still a decent team. And at 21, I have the Texas Longhorns. They played the TCU Horned Frogs this weekend. They won this game 32-27. This game was probably more about the run games for both teams. Zach Evans for TCU ran for a lot of yards. TCU had a lot of success on the ground. And Texas especially, with B. John Robinson, he ran for 216 on TCU. Now that guy's the truth. If they're going to beat Oklahoma next weekend, that man has to play exactly like that. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do that, but we're going to see. We're going to talk about that game later this week. Now at number 22, I have the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. They played Louisville this weekend. They won 37-34. And to be honest, I don't really think they deserve to win this game. Louisville outgained them. They played better when it came down to the fourth quarter. They scored more points. That's why I really didn't move Wake Forest up as much. I think I moved them up a couple ranks, but yeah, it was just a very competitive game. It was entertaining, but I think Wake Forest should have won by more. Then at 23, I have Arizona State. They beat UCLA over the weekend when they were ranked 20. They won this game 42-23. They really showed out against UCLA. They shut UCLA out in the second half, and they scored 18 points, I'm pretty sure. Dorian Thompson-Robinson tried, but that team's just not good enough. He's a good player, but everyone else just really fell flat in this game. Now, finally breaking the top 25 is SMU, and they played South Florida over the weekend. They won 41-17 in this game. Tanner Mordecai, he threw for 4 touchdowns, 301 yards. Dude played out of his mind. They played very good. They let up a lot of yards to USF, but at the end, they won this game by a lot, and they deserve to be in the top 25. So welcome, boys. Now to round out the top 25, I do have Clemson. Now, guys, hear me out. I know Clemson shouldn't be ranked, but they did play a 4-0 Boston College team that did make a lot of mistakes in this game. I'm pretty sure they had 10 penalties for 60 yards, and they threw 2 picks as well, and we're missing their starting quarterback. But they did win this game, and I feel like cutting Clemson a little bit of slack since they've had a pretty bad year. But yeah, they're going to round out my top 25. Let me know how I did this week, and let me know if I got anything wrong. And I'm going to come up with my predictions for next week. Next week is going to be pretty crazy as well. So be sure to watch out for that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.